Update 1.58 Open Beta has been released, and almost immediately, something stood out to me. Not because of one specific feature or a flashy headline, but because of the context of everything that was included. The more I looked at Update 1.58, the more it felt like this update wasn't rushed, and it definitely wasn't random. It feels carefully planned, carefully structured, and deliberately executed to act as a gateway to something much bigger. Update 1.58 isn't just adding features for the sake of adding features. It's optimizing the game, polishing long-standing systems, and modernizing Euro Truck Simulator 2 and American Truck Simulator in a way that makes them feel ready for a wider audience. Or let me say it this way. This update feels designed for bigger screens, 4K televisions, and living room gaming, not just people sitting close to a monitor. Welcome to another exciting video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and honestly, thank you so much for 4,000 subscribers. I truly appreciate every single one of you who supports the channel.
Update your wish lists because SCS Software is bringing Euro Truck Simulator 2 and American Truck Simulator to PlayStation and Xbox.
Now, let's talk about why Update 1.58 might be the clearest signal yet that ETS2 and ATS are preparing for PlayStation and Xbox. We've had many updates over the years. Some brought new trucks, some expanded the map, some focused on graphics or sound. Those updates were important, but Update 1.58 feels different because it focuses on how the game is experienced, not just what is added. This update focuses heavily on usability, accessibility, and clarity, and that matters a lot. When a game is designed strictly for PC, mouse, and keyboard are always the priority. Menus can be dense, text can be small, and information can be layered across multiple screens. That works when you're sitting close to a monitor. But when a game is preparing for consoles, everything changes. Information must be readable from a distance, menus must be easy to navigate with a controller, and gameplay functions must be reachable quickly, often with just one or two button presses. Update 1.58 clearly reflects that shift. One of the biggest clues is the new Quit menu from the pause screen. This change is far more important than it might seem at first glance. For years, pausing the game simply froze everything. Now, with Update 1.58, the pause screen becomes a central information hub. From a single screen, you can access job details, truck information, controls, damage status, service options, and other important gameplay functions. Everything is clearly structured, readable, and grouped logically. This design makes perfect sense for controller and joypad users. Instead of navigating through multiple menus with a mouse, a player can pause the game and immediately see what they need. One button press, clear panels, big, readable text. That's not PC-first design, that's console-first thinking. For someone playing on a couch using a controller, this makes the game far more immersive. You're not fighting the interface, you're staying inside the experience. And honestly, this feature feels far more natural on a controller than it ever did with mouse and keyboard. That alone tells us a lot about where SCS is heading. What Update 1.58 really shows is a subtle but very important shift in philosophy. SCS Software is no longer designing systems only for players sitting at a desk. They are clearly thinking about how the game feels when you're relaxed, leaning back, holding a controller, and looking at a large screen. This isn't about simplifying the game or removing depth. It's about making depth accessible, and accessibility is everything when it comes to console gaming. Now let's talk about the Route Advisor, because this might be the strongest signal of all. Since the very first release of ETS2 back in 2012 and ATS in 2016, SCS has always used essentially the same Route Advisor concept. A fixed HUD panel filled with information designed primarily for mouse and keyboard users. It worked, but it was rigid, and it wasn't modern. In Update 1.58, that finally changes. The old Route Advisor is replaced by a new, clean, widget-based system. And to be honest, it looks fantastic. It's minimal, readable, and far more flexible. It feels like something you'd expect from a modern driving game. If you compare it to HUDs in games like Forza, the inspiration is obvious. The new Route Advisor looks right at home on a 4K display. It doesn't block the view, it respects immersion, and it keeps the focus on the road. More importantly, it feels designed with console controls in mind. Cycling through widgets, accessing information, and staying focused while driving all feels more natural with a controller. This is not just a visual upgrade, it's a structural redesign. And that redesign makes ETS2 and ATS feel genuinely console-ready. Another detail that's easy to overlook is screen readability. Console games are played from a distance. Text has to be larger. Icons have to be clearer. Contrast has to be stronger. Update 1.58 addresses all of this. The new UI elements are sharper, cleaner, and far more readable on large screens. This isn't about looks alone, it's about comfort. A game that's uncomfortable to read on a TV simply won't succeed on console. SCS clearly understands that now. Nothing has been officially confirmed yet, but based on everything we're seeing, I genuinely believe ETS2 and ATS are preparing for a PlayStation and Xbox release very soon, possibly this year. You don't spend years modernizing UI, redesigning core systems, improving controller support, and polishing performance unless you're approaching the final stage. Console certification is strict. Performance requirements are high. User experience expectations are unforgiving. Update 1.58 feels like the final preparation update, and I'm confident we haven't seen everything yet. More controller-focused improvements are likely coming, more UI refinements, more accessibility changes. The pattern is already clear. This isn't just exciting for console players. A console release would mean a much larger audience, stronger long-term support, more funding for development, and faster progress on future updates. It would push ETS2 and ATS into a completely new chapter. These games deserve that recognition. As it stands right now, Update 1.58 is the gateway. A gateway to modernization. A gateway to consoles. And potentially the gateway to the biggest era ETS2 and ATS have ever seen. You can see it in the design choices. You can feel it in how the game flows. And you can sense how carefully this update has been put together. SCS Software isn't rushing, they're preparing. And if you ask me, they're preparing for PlayStation and Xbox.